bitch. So shut the fuck up. I'm saying that I don't even get like that anymore. Not at all.
Listen to Kimmie.
Yeah, I know.
As she nods out. Isn't that crazy?
Because I'm not going to stop. I do what I want on my channel when I want. For as long as I want. And you're perfect. And you're not even sure. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Woo! Fucking ridiculous it is of you to be talking about my psychiatry, my mind, and whatever, mental illness, whatever the fuck you want. Okay, many of the ones I speak of are clean today, or call it what you want, but they're on my
Never view even to bring children up and to speak on whether or not they're autistic or whether their mother's on methadone. If their mother's sober, she's one step ahead of you. Now, Kimmie, you do realize that Sharon does not consider you sober because you're on methadone. Or is that the reason why she thinks people that are on methadone are not sober is because of what you're doing? I mean, you're stopping over at the trap house on payday, right? For what? To gossip about another addict? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, you realize you're sitting there with a hypocrite and you're acting hypocritical by condoning Sharon doing it, but it's not okay for Maddie or someone else to do. She's projected to make $6,000 this year. No other legal income. So, I mean, it's on the table there, right? She is tricking. Anyways, but do you think people are making donations because her content is so good and interesting? Nope. They're laughing their ass off at this mess. You are a hot mess. I mean, what else could it be? Someone that cared about you would not want you to be like this. They would be wanting you to get better mentally. And the nerve of you to judge anybody for seeking help for their addiction. You know, I mean, not everybody plays games and wastes taxpayers' money by being on state insurance and failing to complete a program. You lie so bad. You said, I'm sick of it. I want my life to change. All this stuff. But then you just do 2 days. You're so weak. You can't handle the full program. Huh? But yeah, stop fooling yourself and thinking you're better than anybody because you're worse than all of them put together. So are we.
She does too damn much. Why is she constantly getting so high, especially alive? I don't understand why she does that, man. Don't do your stuff and get that blue out and then hit the button to go live. I don't understand it. Open your eyes, Sharon. Whoa. No. Oh, sorry about that. Like I've been trying to tell you guys, I am minimal. I do enough to not get sick. I don't push it to the limit like that. That is way out of control. That is a suicide mission is what that is. She's doing way too much. We see it every time she comes on. She can't keep her eyes open.
I did what?
I hope I do too. Of them OD, they come question you about it.
That's not my dope.
She has literally lived her entire adult life being a junkie. She just had a friend OD in her house, and it did nothing for her. Like, she wouldn't have called for a wellness check on Chris anyways. I mean, quick, Sharon, show us your Narcan. Oh, it's non-existent. You're an evil bitch. And there's one sin that God does not forgive, and that is taking your own life. And that's what you are doing. You are on a suicide mission. Kimmie, explain to me your stance on Nitty trying to protect his building where he pays rent from people like Maddie and Gerald or Sharon, or people that go by, the trap house and buy drugs and want to go in his building and do them. I think it's a respectable thing that he did, trying to protect his children. I think every parent should behave like that and want to protect their children from people like Sharon or Maddie or people in active addiction. It's a very dangerous situation. You do see how Sharon acts. It's all over my channel. Watch a few of my videos. And yeah, I definitely have issues with you discussing Maddie and her attempts at becoming sober, or where she lives, or if she steals. You do all of that. Everything that you pick on her for is a character flaw of yourself. You're doing the same things that Maddie does, and you know this. And then you have Kimmie coming to the trap house to discuss it. Isn't that crazy? What were you doing at the trap house anyways, Kimmie? Come on now, that's not sober behaviors. Shows up in that. And don't you think if there was Rufinol in it, things would have been handled a lot differently? You sat there laying in a cell, thinking up stories with your big imagination. You're a liar. You're a con. I'll never believe a word that comes out of your mouth. Now, let me point out where I see their similarities. Okay. They smoke like chimneys, right? They get high on illicit drugs every day. Yeah, both of them. They trick. Yeah, that's definitely proven, because how else would they have enough money to pay for those drugs, right? Their habits. They act crazy on drugs sometimes. They squat and don't pay bills. They don't think that they owe anyone, and they just do a B&E to get into their place every day. Yeah. They steal. Yep. The clerk definitely said you were stealing, and Irv even said, yes, she still steals, and I would tell her, don't worry about it, I'll pick them up. They were for giveaways. I can imagine what else you steal. But anyways, you lie. You both con people with partial truths online. Remember, Kimmie, you said you didn't like that because addicts do that. They take that little piece of truth and they twist on it, and you didn't like that. But do you like Sharon doing it? Because Sharon definitely does it too. Anyways, let's see. They have a friend that OD'd, and they were surprised when someone did a wellness check on them when they fell out online. Wow. And I don't care what you say. They both get high in a bathroom, and that is disgusting, Sharon. That's gross that you even question whether it's disgusting. Oh, and I know you got one more. Neither one of you calls their mother, right? The same parent that both lost daughters to what? Or no, a daughter and a son to a drunk driving accident are now going to lose their child to addiction. Yeah, pretty sad. You're rotten. It's really crazy for you to be discussing another woman and her attempts to get clean, while you're sitting there high, while you're being a menace to society, being a thief, tricking. You're doing everything that Maddie's doing. Every flaw that you have is something you try to point out on someone else. You're deflecting.
It ain't my fucking problem.
Okay, then let me
You bought it, I didn't.
Okay, so you can't help me look for it?
Why did I gotta go to sleep, man. You lost it.
You can help me for 5
Look
minutes,
in the
though.
fucking morning. It ain't my
No,
problem.
I'm not waiting till the morning.
Yeah, Well, that's your fucking problem.
Some of them are so much bigger on your side. Think about it. You have 26 years dedicated to addiction. When was the last time you held a job, had keys to an apartment or to a home or a condo, a vehicle, a license to drive? How about this? Not have a warrant outstanding. It's been a long time, huh? It's amazing how quickly people forget all the scams that Sharon's been doing. Sharon went into rehab how many different times? Wasted taxpayers' money and the beds, pretending that she wanted to go and get clean. Because let's face it, if she wanted to get clean, she'd be clean. But she's not. People sent her clothing. They sent her money. She had a GoFundMe for aftercare and for her to get her own apartment. She did the scam with the pocketbook. Someone gave her that Coach bag and she sold entries to it. Never did the raffle for it. I want my money back on that. I know that for sure. Anyone condoning Sharon V's horrible drug, criminal behaviors and psychotic episodes must be using drugs themselves, because it's just wrong. Anyone that would condone what comes out of that woman's mouth. And you were never charged with distribution or anything close to that. Just think about this, Sharon. You probably had maybe 7 or 8 bags, and 3 of them you were able to sneak in there, right? That's not even a day's worth of your habit, right? Because it costs you $50 a day to be, quote unquote, normal. Why is it different that Maddie tricks? Because Sharon tricks. Sharon tricks for product. When she doesn't have money, that's why she's down at Polo's house. She's got to do the deed. She's not his girlfriend, not the wifey, nothing like that. She's a booty call. And just basically, he throws her a dime when they're done. If you're in recovery, what kind of recovery tells you that you should go over to a trap house in your spare time? And don't play games. You know it's the trap house. It's Polo's house. The same house that Sharon goes down and she tricks so she can get some bags every day. You realize she has a $50 a day habit, right? What are you looking for? I'm going to tell you, this type of behavior with the psychotic episodes and all of that, this should not be around children. You belong in an emergency room or a psychiatric hospital doing an intake. You're like a wandering zombie, and that is so scary, and you can never predict when this type of stuff is going to happen. You should never be alone with children, let alone be near them in the first place. And I thank God that He blessed you with a child, because your child would be in a horrible situation because you don't have family or anyone that would be able to take care of that child for you. If you're sticking with the story that you were roofied, why did you sneak 3 bags into jail, okay, and do them if you were roofied? I think you laid in after doing them and getting caught, thinking of a story, or maybe Rich thought of it on his drive to you. But yeah, that's a made-up story. You wouldn't have done the bags then, nor would you have done the bags that you found when you got out of jail. You would have brought them to the nearest police station and said, this drug here was what I was given and that's why I ended up in jail. I mean, if Irv was saying that he roofied her and he had sexually assaulted her, don't you think she would have called the police? I mean, this is Sharon V. She's a whiner, she's a crier, she's a brat. She definitely would have called the police or something. Not to mention, why would she be going on vacations with him and going and staying at his house and all of that? Makes no sense. Children and young and elderly should not be exposed to you because your behavior is so off the wall, and it's just, anything can pop off. Little kids shouldn't be coming to that house, period, or especially going in that room with you. You nod off and stuff. That's not normal behavior around kids. Seriously, is it, Kimmie? And now you're accusing Irv of being a pedophile? You are despicable. My God. You're the one that shouldn't be around little kids like that little boy Elijah and his little baby brother. They shouldn't be coming by the trap house and going into that room where you nod off, where you have drugs on the table, and where you do drugs. Children do not belong in those situations. Seriously, Kimmie, did you hear? Sharon has a problem with Nitty protecting himself and his family from people like her. The type of people that, go into a public restroom and OD in the bathroom. Or they go into a building where people live and smoke drugs or do drugs. You condone that? That's okay with you, Kimmie? Really? That's crazy. And the same thing with you, Sharon. You are a freaking clown.
But y'all say it's all weed, nothing but weed. And I'm telling you, I could tell the difference because I hadn't smoked it. And
So do others, don't you?
I'm sure you can go find another horse.
Listen to her. She's referring to herself as a whore. Like Sharon did. She's thinking of ideas. Scams. You got things mailed to you, gifts. She made a wish list, right? People put money on there to make sure you had cigarettes or whatever you wanted. Bring all these snacks. Do all this stuff, right? Everybody chipped in and paid for that. It was a little payday for you. You can't handle getting clean. You're not strong enough. But here's the thing. This jail sentence is probably going to be what saves you. Just like you always picked on Maddie for it. You trick. I had no idea. That is just crazy. I mean, you're not the wife or the girlfriend. You're the booty call. He has no respect for you. He has no problem with you going out and hopping in other men's trucks and cars, right? Doing your tricking. Just a part of the game, right? Part of the drug trade. Damn, it's okay for Sharon to live in a bando, be doing drugs, and doing illegal activities to obtain drugs. We all know she's tricking, but it's not okay for anybody else. That does seem like a little bit like a hypocrite is talking, right?
Crit, once again.
You are such an asshole, and you're immature. That chanting and the ma, 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 ba, 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 and all that stuff, you're acting like a child while you're all fucked up on drugs. And children should not be exposed to you. I think God was probably making a statement when he placed you with a child. Like I said, you're just disgusting. The type of person that you are. I had no clue. I never would have associated with you. I mean, you're accusing your old best friend, SG, of being sexually active with her dog. Like, are you serious? I mean, the things that come out of your mouth, and then you after children. And I'm not saying that to you to be all evil like you are, but I'm saying it because I think God definitely made a decision there. You should not be around children. You act like a child a lot of the times, when you're real messed up. You've seen that bathroom scene. There's 2 scenes, I think, maybe 3 of you doing that. That's not normal. I never hung around with anybody that did stuff like that. That's like the type of thing you dial 911 for, or get help. Like, that's scary. And you're just signing up for the 60 days. You realize you're going to do the 60 there, and then whatever, hopefully from Michigan. You need to deal with this. This will probably save your life, Sharon. You need to get serious and stop playing around, because fentanyl will kill you. And the way that you act, nobody's going to give a shit if it does. But yeah, Sharon, obviously you're going to do it. But aren't you going to get clean first? You couldn't do 5 days there without sneaking in a few bags. How are you going to do 60 days? And somehow someone's going to get through to Michigan. You are a menace to Michigan at the very least, to everyone there. You just are a mean, evil person. You don't belong in society. Sorry. You don't. You need to be reformed. And you need to be rehabbed. 26 years of being a criminal. I mean, think about it. You haven't had W-2s. You haven't had kids. You've never married. You don't have a car. You're talking about getting a license and driving? Hell to the hell no. And I don't even live in that state. You do not belong behind the wheel. An asshole too. But you need reprogramming. And you need to... I'm not saying you're always an asshole around kids or whatever, but you're just an asshole to everybody out there, and you bring their kids into it, and that's really fucked up. And you don't understand because you don't have kids. You've never, given birth. So, and you better stop picking on people that can't give birth. That's really fucked up. And I'd like to know where Elijah's parents are and why they're letting a known drug addict to have a child into the trap house to hang out with. This fucking... Hell no. They don't belong on your page even. This is not a child's environment dealing with an active addict. You're a mess. You will forever be sitting around your bando playing with a box of Barbies, going nowhere in this world. Except an early grave or another jail sentence. It's not even like you have to call into work or they'll be looking for you. Nobody's going to be looking for you except your mother. And that's sad. You need to get your life together and become a better person. Because you're an evil person. And you do wrong all the time. And you're... What a crappy way. Lose one son to a drunk driver, just like Maddie's mother lost a daughter to a drunk driver, and now they're going to